As a food lover, the best way to explore other cuisines is to travel. And right now, I'm feeling like the luckiest cook on the planet because I'm standing here in possibly one of the most beautiful cities in the world, Budapest, which is the capital of Hungary. And Hungary is something I am often. I also love their spice. I love paprika. But Budapest is only the beginning of our delicious journey. Over the next 3 weeks, we'll be soaking up some of the best that Europe has to offer, from its rich history and culture, grand architecture, and of course, its cuisine, as we embark on Scenic's Jewels of Europe river cruise. Scenic Ruby, our luxurious spaceship, will take us through 4 countries, kicking off here in Budapest and winding up in Amsterdam as we cruise along the Danube, Main and Rhine rivers. For an overview of the Hungarian capital, the Fishermans Bastion is the perfect starting point. So, Andrea, tell me about this beautiful place, the Fishermans Bastion.
So this is the bastion, that's the church. We are in the formal capital of the country. And this one was built as a defense wall originally, but totally useless as a defense wall. You see, 31 times there was a fight here or a battle or an uprising. 31 times,
wow.
Yes. And this area needed to be protected by the fishermen. That's why it's called the Fisherman's Bastion.
Scenic offers you several great included tour options for exploring Budapest. And you'll also get time to sightsee at your own pace, which is what I'm taking advantage of this morning. Whenever I first arrive in a town or a city, my first port of call is always the marketplace because it's such a wonderful place to get a good sense of the people, to find out about all the local produce, find out what's in season, and it's just so colourful. There's so many things that I already want to try.
You see, this one is very, very famous. I don't know if you have heard about the pig salami. You have to try.
I would love to. Thank you. That's really good. This is the Central Market Hall, Budapest's largest indoor market. Built at the end of the 19th century and keeping locals and visitors like us well-fed ever since. So this is the famous langosh, and I can see this is a really good langosh because there's so many people lining up for it. What do we order?
And I would like you to try traditional with garlic, sour cream, fat cheese, okay?
They have a saying here in Budapest that applies to their #1 delicacy, the langosh. You can't say no to fried dough, and I'm happy to abide. It's like the love child of a donut and a pizza. It's just gorgeous. It's so kind of light and so cheesy and gooey and ooey and From every kind of paprika imaginable to all the Hungarian staples, this is my kind of heaven.
They say that goulash is only good if you sweat when you eat it.
Okay.
Let's try. It's hot.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Hungarians have a hearty diet and they love their food, but they are equally passionate about taking care of themselves. Budapest has the highest number of thermal springs in the world, and these Hungarians have been taking the waters for centuries. So Hungarians love to bathe.
Yes, and imagine that underneath the whole country, 70% under the territory of Hungary, we have these hot springs. That means that almost everywhere, if you would stop in Hungary and you would go down with 100 meters, almost for sure that you would find this hot water.
Today, local bathhouses are as varied as the population, but one of the grandest and most visited is the Scenic thermal baths, a neo-Baroque palace built specifically for this purpose. It's not only celebrated for its therapeutic and medicinal qualities, but also as a social centre. Oh.
1
totally get it now. That was absolutely amazing. The cool thing was that I met lots of people from all around the world. A guy from France, a girl from Sweden, and lots of locals as well. It's kind of 50-50. And I have to say that I think the healing properties are actually working, because I've got a funny old chopper's thumb, and I've been massaging it under the water, and I think I'm healed. I'm going to go back for more. For the next 14 nights, the luxurious Scenic Ruby will glide us through Europe's waterways. But before we set off, we get one last look at this city in all its sparkling glory. By day, it's certainly a beautiful city, but by night, with its landmark buildings all lit up, it's truly magical. What a show it's put on for you tonight, hey?
Absolutely beautiful. The lights, the city, everything about it's just magnificent.
What an awesome light show that Budapest has put on for us, and what a fantastic way of saying goodbye to this beautiful city. After kicking off in the Hungarian capital of Budapest, Scenic Ruby is gliding us along the Danube towards our second stop, Vienna. Seeing the sights and the comfort of this luxurious ship is the best way to do it. And trust me, you will not want for anything, especially when it comes to food. Now, this is my favourite spot right here. It's open all day for a snack or light lunch, and there's so much to choose from. I love it. Milan, I'd like a Savoy cabbage salad, thank you.
Salad.
Nice and healthy. In fact, it's only little. What do you think? I think perhaps because we are in Austria, can I have the Sasha tort?
Of course.
Beautiful. Now I can go and enjoy this with a great view. Vienna has earned its title as the City of Music, with more famous composers having lived here than any other city in the world. Mozart, Beethoven, all the big names were lured to this city with its opulent palaces and grand architecture to perform in what was once centre of the great Habsburg dynasty and now remains the capital of Austria. It's really nice to get all dolled up tonight for a special occasion. They call it Scenic and Rich, and it's one of those special experiences that you'll have on the cruise, and it's a memory that will last you a lifetime. To truly soak in the atmosphere of the City of Music, Scenic has booked us into Palais Liechtenstein for a private performance. For over 3 centuries, this has been the city palace of the princely family of Liechtenstein, and it remains in their hands even today. The gold carriage, proudly on show as you enter, is one of 4 commissioned by the prince himself, and the only one still in existence.
On the streets of Paris, everybody should know how important he is. So he needed kind of a castle on wheels to travel with.
The palace is regarded as the first major building of the High Baroque age in Vienna, and recently underwent a 5-year renovation to restore it to its former glory. What about the beautiful fresco ceiling? It's amazing. Once the guests roll in, all glammed up for the occasion, there's time to take in the surrounds before we head in for the main event. So John and Kerry, what are you looking forward to tonight?
Well, the whole experience. I think it's we haven't been here before, and it's a good start walking into a building like this.
Yeah, this is amazing. And it's good for your soul, this sort of classical music, I think.
I agree too.
Yeah.
Long live classical music.
That's right.
With the Viennese Orchestra performing the works of Strauss and Mozart, as well as opera and even some ballet, it's an absolute highlight of the cruise for us all. after an exclusive classical concert in Vienna's Palais Liechtenstein, we now have an entire day to explore more of this gorgeous city. Scenic free choice means you can pick and choose included tours you'd most like to experience. Personally, I can't go past a palace. And they don't get much grander than this one, the 1,441-room Schönbrunn Palace. Imagine your dad gifting you a palace on your wedding day. I mean, that's just absurd. This wasn't just their family home either. This was their summer residence. I mean, how opulent were they back in those days?
Well, it was the Habsburg family. They were the rulers here in Austria for 6.5 centuries. They needed to present their position.
Kept within the Habsburg family for generations, it's had many reinventions. So the opulence doesn't stop at the palace, does it? What about this? Tell me about what is this amazing building coming up here?
It's the Gloriette, the glory. It's about the glory of the family Habsburg here. Yeah, I would say that's an arch of triumph. It's commemorating a great, great victory of the troops of Maria Theresia.
Maria Theresa was the only female ruler of the Habsburg dynasty and was responsible for ordering its transformation from a hunting lodge to what we see today. The palace and epic gardens that surround it will have you in awe. Do you have to be a resident to rent one of those apartments?
As this is all privately, no, I don't think so. You could just move in.
I'm just thinking of my address. Anna Gare, Schönbrunn Palace, Vienna.
Very prestigious address.
I can dream, can't I? I'm in Vienna after all. Oh my gosh, and wait, there's more. There's a strudel show within the palace grounds. Hey, Beata, let's go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome in our Old Bacon Cafe residence. My name is Dia, and I will show you how we make today the Winnie's apple strudel.
This quirky and captivating show is held daily, and it's worth a visit for the strudel eating alone.
I can play with the dough and doesn't break. So funny. So I build a little wall. Perfect.
And I couldn't resist getting my hands dirty.
So, for this job, you get an April 1st of the outfit, okay? Yes, it's perfect.
Would you like me to butter it?
Yes, please. This is your job. Perfect. I'm waiting for you here in the bakery at 6 a.m. because I have a one working contract for you.
I'll sign up right now.
You get the new job, so you was here to see the show and now you get the new job.
That's fine, and I'll just take an apartment in Schönbrunn Palace and I'll be set for life. I'd love to be a strudel lady.
Yes, it's perfect.
There's just one thing I want to do. I want to do what you did.
Yeah. Yes, it's really good.
Strudel is a true Viennese specialty, as well as its other prized food product, the schnitzel. Plahutas is one of Vienna's most famous schnitzel restaurants. Well, let's get stuck into this schnitzel. This is what this place is famous for.
Oh, yeah, and you will love it.
first.
Thank you.
That is gorgeous. It's got a really light batter. And these potatoes, totally divine. Amazing, just simply a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of olive oil, mustard, maybe added a little bit of stock, and just so flavoursome. And they're just such a nice, hearty addition to the schnitzel. Our journey through Europe on the lovely scenic Ruby has delivered us to the pretty Austrian town of Dürnstein. Dürnstein translates to dry castle, presumably after the stone castle sitting high above the main town. Well, it's time to work off those schnitzels and strudels. And lucky for our scenic guests, they provide us with these awesome e-bikes, and we can take them whenever we want. And apparently the next stretch is beautiful. Whoa! With my guide Lizzie leading the way, we're headed from Dürnstein to Milk, a 32-kilometre, mostly flat journey, taking in the beauty of the Austrian countryside, from its quaint villages to fertile vines. It's absolutely stunning.
This is a day in my office. Look around. Fruit trees, churches, villages, all along the Wachau Valley.
If this is your office, I'd like to do business with you on a regular occasion.
You can do that. You are always very welcome to be my backup guide.
The Wachau Valley is a stretch of the Danube which showcases the absolute best of what this area has to offer, from its history to its dreamy landscapes. I think I've fallen in love with the Wachau Valley.
I do understand that. Look around. Grapevines, fruit trees.
It's absolutely stunning. It's so fertile, isn't it? And then there's the picture-perfect villages along the way. How many people live in this village?
500. But not only here in the town centre, they spread out a little bit further.
And this is a wine region as well as apricot country.
Yes, you told me you love apricots, so you will see them in a very, very short time over there. Some apricot trees and the wine, of course, very important here.
Oh, look, they've got a little roadside stall.
Apricots.
Ooh, oh my gosh, they look beautiful. Let's grab one. Let's grab one, yeah.
They look.
Why don't you try one while I pay?
I try one, that's good.
Oh, yum, homegrown. Beautiful. Hot days and cool nights make perfect apricots. I wonder what else we're going to discover.
They're really delicious. Wow.
Really sweet. With the e-bike, the journey can be as easygoing or as high intensity as you'd like. We've switched on the electric function so we can spend less time pedalling and more time taking in the spectacular scenery. Milk is our final destination, a town dating back to the 1200s. With its impressive Benedictine monastery, the Milk Abbey, perched high on the hill overlooking the Danube below. From here, we're all transported to Agstein Castle. This is just another one of those special experiences that Scenic organised for us. It's fantastic. We've all had an amazing day. We share our stories. We can now unwind and relax and have a drink with friends. Cheers. Welcome back to our glorious journey through Europe here on the Scenic Ruby. We've got one more stop in Austria and then it's off to Germany for a roller coaster of feasts, treats and temptations. Our first stop this week is Salzburg, storybook Austria. Then it's on to Germany and some of its most beautiful towns, Regensburg, Nuremberg and the fairy tale hamlet of Bamberg. If the hills around Salzburg and its dazzling Austrian Alps look familiar, they most likely are. This was the setting for the 1965 hit, The Sound of Music. It's also the birthplace of Mozart. Scenic will take you on a tour of all its famous sites, but I'm taking the opportunity to learn more about the local cuisine. Tell me about Austrian food, because when I think of Austrian food, I think of comfort food.
Yeah, that's totally right. We do have a high-carb, high-fat cuisine with lots of meat, lots of sausages.
And are there any great new food trends happening in Salzburg at the moment?
We do have a new ice cream parlor, and he makes his ice cream with sheep milk.
Oh, delicious.
Yeah. It's really delicious because the milk has a high content of fat, so it's really tasty.
Hello.
Ah, welcome.
Hello.
Thank you. Wow, what a selection. I really like the sound of the pumpkin seed, because we've been having a lot of pumpkin seed on salads and things. So I'll have that. That's a nice kind of creamy one, I imagine. And then what would you recommend I have with that? I'm really tempted to do the poppy seeds, but that would be 2 seeds together.
But that's just awesome, because that's 2 typical Austrian flavors and they just match perfectly.
Oh, this is really special.
You like it?
Really, really special. Sonia tells me there's a strong local food culture emerging here in Salzburg, but sausages are still king.
When you are in Salzburg, this is the place you cannot miss. This is the Balkan Grill, and there you can eat a special kind of sausage. It's a little bit like a hot dog, I would say, but we call it Bosna.
This hole-in-the-wall sausage kiosk has been here since the 1950s. It's run by a family of butchers, and you'll find a line-up here all day long. Spicy.
Yeah, spicier than a normal hot dog would be.
But I really like it, and I think it goes really nicely with the mustard. And it's pork sausages.
I think it's pork, and it's the same recipe since 1950, so they never changed it.
After eating my way around the city, I'm headed for the hills for one of this trip's highlight experiences. Well, the hills are certainly alive with the sound of music. I'm halfway up Goat Mountain, and all I need is a lonely herder. So where did you come from?
Straight from the mountains, where we yodel instead of talk.
So do all Austrians know how to yodel?
No, only the ones with a real desire in their heart.
I have that desire. Will you teach me?
Yodel. And now, the expression of pure joy, a Jugica. You passed with flying colors.
I think you should come to the Sound of Music Salzburg show with me. I think we're going to get along.
Okay.
This gorgeous mountain restaurant is the setting for our scenic and rich experience, an exclusive concert created especially for us. Winning 5 Oscars, The Sound of Music was a huge hit worldwide. But Hans says, surprisingly, it wasn't such a big deal here in Austria.
The film's been around for about 52 years, and as far as I recall, they've shown it maybe 2 or 3 times on national television. We don't get to see it.
That is so amazing, because it's one of the most popular sort of musicals. You know, we all grew up, Australians, you know, Americans, people all around the world grew up watching that show and singing the songs. After starting in Budapest and making our way through Austria, we've now crossed the border into Germany. It's my first time in this country, and I'm so excited to learn more about its rich history and, of course, its local flavours. They call Regensburg Germany's medieval miracle, and I have Tula to show me around her town today. It really is an amazing place. How did it earn that title?
Yes, you see all these old houses here around us. We didn't have so much bombings during the Second World War, and that means that we still had this old stuff, and they didn't have money to repair these houses. That means also that that was good for us, that they didn't pull any of these houses away. And nowadays you are not able to do that anymore. So we save all these houses, and it's a biggest medieval city in the whole Germany nowadays. We have only old stuff from 1200, 1300s until 1600s. Everything's still there and good shape. For example, this building on the left side is our city hall. We have 2 parts from the Gothic style, and then 1 part, this one is from the 1600s, and this is a typical style of Baroque. So very different style.
Regensburg has emerged as a happening little town with a bar on every corner and a strong cafe culture, but its history is everywhere.
St. Peter's Cathedral, they started to build that in 1260. And it took about 250 years to build that.
Oh, wow.
So it was a very, very long project.
This cathedral is Regensburg's landmark building, but in terms of importance to the town, the historic sausage kitchen runs a close second. It began life as a cafeteria back in 1135 to feed the workers constructing the stone bridge. They really are good sausages.
Yep.
Spicy and porky, and the sauerkraut is the best.
Yes, and the bread is with caraway seeds, so it's a very tasty bread also.
So simple, but so tasty.
Yeah.
Regensburg really is a beautiful little city. Its entire Old Town area is now UNESCO protected. And you'll have plenty of free time to stroll its cobbled streets and discover it for yourself. From here, we're on board Scenic Ruby for an afternoon of cruising and, of course, indulgence. I received an invitation for portobellos tonight, so I'm just getting glammed up for this special occasion. The ship's hairdressing salon is open all day, right across from the massage therapist and the wellness centre. During the cruise, every guest is invited to Portobello's, the authentic Italian restaurant on board. And tonight, I'm lucky enough to have cruise director extraordinaire Wernie as my dinner date.
I always see it as a treat to sit in Portobello. Different location, nice company, relaxing atmosphere. There's always something to see out there. That's a special thing in Portobello.
The 5-course menu is paired with local wines. And while the food on board is always fabulous, this is definitely something extra special. Oh la la.
Buon appetito, enjoy.
Grazie. That's beautiful. As we continue down the Danube, our Scenic Jewels of Europe river cruise is taking us through Germany's most beautiful burgs, and today it's Nuremberg. Nuremberg was made infamous worldwide as the site of the Nazi party rallies in the 1940s, and chosen as a site of the War Crimes Tribunal after World War II. These days, it's shaken off that unenviable history and is known for much more enjoyable pastimes. Nuremberg is considered to be the mecca of gingerbread. They've been baking it here for over 600 years, and I'm about to learn from the masters.
My name is Fritz, and I'm doing the gingerbread class today with you.
This cooking class is one of Scenic's free choice options, where you choose an included tour that best suits you and your interests. A teaspoon of cinnamon. Oh, these spices smell amazing. Yeah. In teams of 2, we're making what the Germans call Lebkuchen. So we're chopping the peel nice and fine. This is lovely.
So gingerbread man is a very British thing, and the German Lebkuchen is always in a round form on top of a wafer. So just rotate it while you are pushing with your thumb.
So Fritz, our first tray is ready to go in the oven. As well as learning how to cook the traditional gingerbread recipe, we get a much welcome taste test at the end.
The first ones are ready.
Oh, gorgeous. This is gorgeous. what I like about this is that it's different to any gingerbread that I've ever eaten. And I think it's because he's replaced the flour with the nuts, and it gives it such a lovely texture.
Yep.
And we still have time to explore some of Nuremberg's fascinating history. So Nuremberg was hit pretty hard during the Second World War, but this place looks pretty kind of ancient.
Yeah, well, that's right. Most houses around us are going back to the 14th century. That's that typical half-timbered design you'd find here. This place you could recall as being pretty lucky, as, 9 out of 10 houses were destroyed in Nuremberg, but this street is pretty much in its original design.
After trying the famous Regensburg sausages, Sebastian is determined to convince me Nuremberg's are even better.
You see the reason actually around us, if you just look at the main market right here. It is where the main trading roads, since like so ever, were leading right to this place. The Spice Road, the Silk Road, the Amber, the Fur Road, all leading up here and developing, therefore, as well, recipes for gingerbread and sausages. So these sausages are made for centuries already here in Nuremberg.
So there's always been this rivalry between the two cities?
Yeah, definitely. You could say so, that there's sort of a worst war existing between Regensburg and Nuremberg.
Right, or a battle of the bangers.
That's right.
Nuremberg's sausage kitchen has a similar history to Regensburg, but this one was originally created to feed the workers at the city's cathedral. But when it comes to taste, owner Hans believes there's no competition.
I would say the best sausages in the world we have here. Yeah, really. It's the best sausages. They are made every day fresh. We produce here in this little kitchen about 5 to 10,000 sausages a day.
This is amazing.
Here, look.
There's only one way to solve this centuries-old rivalry.
Forget Regensburg.
I've forgotten him already. They are really, really delicious. I love the marjoram. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think that is your winning herb in there.
You still got to try it with hot mustard, though, as this is the main difference as well to Regensburg.
Yeah.
I just have to thank you, Sebastian, for bringing me here. I think the winner is pretty clear.
Great, then I'm happy.
And the winner is Nuremberg.
Prost.
Prost.
That's how we do it.
Prost.
After kicking off in Budapest, cruising through the Austrian countryside and now gliding our way through Germany, it's already proving to be the trip of a lifetime. From its landmark Rothenburg Castle looming large over the city below, Bamberg has the magic of the past hanging in the air. There's so many different beautiful buildings here in Bamberg. How do they keep them so well preserved?
First of all, they simply had a lot of luck. Bamberg has only seen minor damages during wars in the past, and specifically so during World War II. By far less than 10% of the city was destroyed or heavily damaged, so most of the city has only seen light damages. So they only needed to do some repairs. And that means most of the historical buildings are in a really historical state.
The town itself is often referred to as Little Italy, and within it, the old Fisherman's Quarter is known as Bamberg's Little Venice.
Buildings built originally on stilts into the river, just like houses in Venice are. The ground floor would still be the river's water surface. So your ground floor would actually work as a water garage. So you could pedal to the door, pull your boat inside, and then climb up into your living room. And the great thing is that most of the houses are still owned by descendants of the old fisher families, and at least as a hobby and as a sport, they keep on fishing in the river.
But there's more to Bamberg than just its beautiful buildings.
When you come to Bamberg, you have to try two different things. One is the smoky beer, and the other thing is the Bamberger Hornler, a special type of pastry. And this is actually the oldest bakery in the town, and just the perfect spot to try one.
Oh, wow, this is beautiful. Hello.
Is it? Hello.
Hello.
Wow, so this is the famous Hornler.
The famous Hornler means little horns, obviously. Take a look at it, put it on your head, you will have horns on your head. And this is the local pastry specialty.
It looks a lot like a croissant to me.
It is, you could call it the sister of the French croissant, right? It's a little bit different form. There's a little bit more ingredients in the French croissant than in the Bambergian Hornler. But special about it is you have to wait for an entire night. The yeast dough has to wait for an entire night to be ready the next day, and then they pour in butter, layer after butter, while they make the Hornler. So it contains a lot of butter by the end, but it is something that you have to try.
Here we go.
Here we go.
The big taste test. That's seriously good. That's seriously buttery. So now we've ticked off the Hornler, smoked beer is next on the menu. It's a Bamberg institution, and with over 10 breweries in a town of less than 70,000 people, you'll have no trouble finding it. Schlenkerler Brewery is one of the oldest in town, and their smoked beer is still being tapped directly from the wooden barrel, according to local tradition.
Prost.
Cheers. Prost. Ooh.
And what do you say?
I quite like it, actually.
Yeah?
You can actually smell the smoke.
Oh, you do?
Before you even...
Yeah,
You know,
and
knock
it
some
stays
back.
in the palate for a long time.
Yeah.
This is the old way of drying malt, of drying the malt over an open wood fire, not just by using hot air. So this is also a way to connect to history. Many beers in the past had this smoky taste.
I love it when I find a marketplace in the middle of a town square. I love that white asparagus. It's gorgeous. I never realised how much I'd fallen in love with Germany. I mean, the beer and the bratwurst just on its own is well worth the visit. But the beauty and the history and the architecture, there's just so much to take in. And some of the best is still to come. We've reached the final leg of our cruise through Europe, and I'm just not ready for this trip to ever end. But luckily, we have some of the most amazing scenery ahead of us as we cruise our way towards our final destination, Amsterdam. Our starting point this week on our Scenic Jewels of Europe river cruise is Rothenburg. From here, we'll hit the Middle Rhine Valley, arguably the most spectacular stretch of the journey, as we head to Rudolph, then on to Cologne for our final stop in Germany before crossing the border to the Netherlands. One of the best preserved medieval centres in Germany, Rothenburg's rich history is everywhere. From its 14th century walls that surround the old town to the guardhouse and gate that form the original entrance to the city. This is incredible. It's so beautifully preserved. Is this exactly what it looked like in its original state?
You really could say almost everything here is intact. Of course, some work on the roof needs to be done, but the main structure is really from the 13th, 14th century.
Oh, and what's that kind of spooky face up there?
Well, that was their defense system. There, they would put the hot oil down on the enemies and some other items.
Oh, that's evil. But then again, I guess it is medieval.
So, yeah.
Thanks to the strategic location and fertile surroundings, Rothenburg was one of the country's most prosperous towns.
Yeah, here we see how large the private houses can get here. Rothenburg was a really wealthy community. It is located at a crossing between two sales roads. One is from Hamburg to Venice, and another one is from Prague to Paris. Rothenburg's in the middle of it. So that gives Rothenburg a pretty good income, and this is how wealthy the private houses were getting, yes? So here we see the private houses.
If you had a timbered house, were you poorer than if you had a stone house?
We do have timbered houses most of the time. The sign that the poorer population was living inside there. We have in Germany a lovely saying. If somebody owns a lot of money, we would call him steinreich. That means he is stone rich. So that comes from back then, from people who can afford complete stone houses. That is a sign wealthy people were living inside of it.
There's thousands of years of history wedged between these cobblestone streets. It's truly one of Germany's most beautiful towns, but it's not just the visual feast I'm interested in. You can follow your nose in this town. It's really good.
And I'm going to show you another specialty. First of all, we see a lovely variety of sausages. We're going to find here the bratwurst and some other varieties, but another regional specialty is that what we will call Leberkäse. Leberkäse means liver cheese. It's no liver and no cheese inside of it. It's our German version of a meatloaf. It's this sausage dough and then bake up in the oven, and then it looks beautiful. It is.
I've read about this, and I really wanted to try it when I was here in Germany. Yeah, so you traditionally have it in the bread roll?
Yes, we have it in a roll, and then you put mustard over it.
Awesome. Can I tuck in, or do I have to wait for you?
No, enjoy.
Mmm.
Really good, huh?
Hail, hail, that is amazing. From the savoury to the sickly sweet, Rothenburg's most famous delicacy is what's known as the Schneeballen, or snowball. Every second shop down the street seems to be selling these things.
Yeah,
do the locals eat them?
It's the Rothenburg specialty. It's for what this town here is known. This would be the sweet pastry for what this area here is known in complete Germany and in the world.
So you're the Schneeball man.
Yeah, I like to make the snowballs. And
Looks like a beautiful dough. What's it made out of?
Oh, it's a normally cookie dough. The only different we deep fry the cookie dough.
Very naughty.
Yeah.
Can I try one fresh out of the fryer?
Yeah, no.
Lovely. So deep fried cookie. Here we go.
And now we break it a little bit. So, and you can taste the snowball. Yeah, in a normally way, we give him 2 days.
I like it warm. It's really delicious.
Yeah.
It's kind of crunchy on the outside, and then a little bit soft in the middle.
Yeah.
Back on board Scenic Ruby, the indulgence continues. Tonight, it's a 6-course degustation at Table La Rive. Not only does Scenic make sure we're wined and dined, but entertained as well. From local musicians to theme nights, there's even the chance to learn the Viennese waltz.
Step, turn, close.
From the fairy tale villages to the castle-encrusted landscape, Scenic's Jewels of Europe river cruise truly is a journey of jaw-dropping scenery. And nowhere is it more spectacular than the Rhine Valley. The gateway to this magnificent stretch of countryside is the little town of Rüdesheim. I've heard it, as we keep going further towards Amsterdam, there's going to be a castle about every 2 kilometres.
Exactly, exactly. And it reminds us of those times when today's Germany didn't yet exist, when there were kings every mile and a half, every 2-3 kilometers. Passing by the one castle, you already see the next ruler's residence. It was like in the fairy tales of the Brothers Grimm. Every kilometer and a half, there was another king and another count and another prince.
Standing defiantly above the town and the valley below is Germania, the centrepiece of what's known as the Niederwald Monument, built as a tribute to German nationalism. A cable car will take you from the old town and deliver you right here. And while the shrine is certainly impressive, the views alone are well worth the short journey up. Rüdesheim has a reputation as one of the best wine-growing regions on the Rhine. But since it's a little early for vino, my guide is keen to introduce me to another local specialty.
Since we are in Rüdesheim, you have to try the Rüdesheimer coffee, and this is one of the best places where to get them.
I'm dying for a coffee. That'd be great.
Hello, how are you? Yeah,
Good, thank you.
very much.
I'm a bit nervous. With a generous shot of brandy in the recipe, the famous Rudesheimer coffee is not your regular morning brew. According to legend, it was created at a time when it wasn't acceptable for women to drink in public. So it was a discreet way for them to enjoy a little tipple. All those ladies were good. What a smart idea. This is really delicious.
This is far much better than just a brandy.
And the cream takes away that sting from the brandy.
Exactly.
It's quite drinkable.
Exactly, and that caramel taste which comes up by stirring the burning brandy with the sugar.
Many of the town's bars and cafes are located on what's known as the Drosselgasse. Rudesheim's busiest laneway is a 140-metre-long tourist magnet that has become synonymous with music, fun and revelry. Well, you've truly taken me to the hot spot of the town. This place is really vibing.
It's definitely the hotspot of this town since ages. The more pubs there were opening and the more celebrities that came over here since the mid-1800s, the more famous it became.
Heaps of bars, isn't there? Lots of bars and restaurants, shops. There's sort of everything, and the buildings are just so quaint. From Rudesheim, our scenic spaceship continues toward the Rhine Valley's most famous landmark, the Lorelei. It's a steep slate rock that signals the narrowest and historically the most treacherous stretch of the river. In an area known as Castle Country, our next stop, Marksburg Castle, is certainly one of the most memorable for its beauty, location, and the fact that it's the only hilltop castle on the Rhine to have never been destroyed.
It was just very lucky. Historically speaking, lots of castles were not destroyed from the outside, but from the inside due to a raging fire, for example. This castle was never attacked, had no big fires, and it was always in use, so it never became obsolete. Okay, so this is the kitchen, late Middle Ages. It's a building from the 15th century. Now, the kitchen was mainly a place for the servants, kind of a community space. They would spend a lot of time in here. The fireplace was the warmest spot in the castle.
A tour through this fascinating fortress is a step back into the Middle Ages. I think they were a bit smaller back in the day.
Certainly were. So this is the Great Hall right now. This is essentially the heart of the castle, a place for courtly life.
And tonight, this 11th century masterpiece is the location of our Scenic and Rich event. An exclusive medieval banquet complete with court jesters and colourful minstrels. Dining on suckling pig and hearty traditional fare in this atmospheric setting is a truly unforgettable experience. Our final stop in Germany before we cross the border to the Netherlands is Cologne. With its 2,000 years of history, Cologne is home to the single most visited landmark in the country. This cathedral is awesome. It's much bigger in real life. I've only ever seen it on a postcard.
Yeah, it's huge. This is one of the highest churches in the whole world, 157 meters.
Wow. This iconic building with its Gothic twin spires took an epic 600 years to build. A walking tour of Cologne is just one of the included free choice options with Scenic. But of course, there's free time scheduled in too, and I'm keen to make the most of it to get my daily foodie fix. You know what I love best about Germany? The bread. You guys have the best bread culture.
Yeah, this is true, and this is the best place to go. This bakery is called Time for Bread, in German language, Zeit für Brot, and as you can see, we have a big range of different type of breads.
And that's what I love about your bread. Most of all, I love the rye bread. I love the dark rye bread and the light rye bread. It's really heavy and full of lots of seeds and nuts. Unlike Unlike Italy, where bread is a side dish, here the bread itself is the hero, and bakeries like this one do a roaring trade. The German diet is centred around meat and carbs, and some of its staple dishes are among the heartiest meals you'll find. I have been dreaming about eating a pork knuckle since I've been here. We've had so many bratwurst, but this is such a beautiful traditional German dish, and it goes nicely with beer, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. With the local one, especially with the Kölsch, the one brewed only in Cologne.
Half the fun is cutting it up. Oh, look at that. It's all tender and lovely in the middle there. Cologne is home to countless breweries, but this one, Peter's Brewhouse, is best known not for just its local brew, but also the authentic dishes. And so, a lot of the breweries, do they serve the sort of local regional food?
Mm-hmm. This is it's a typical traditional dish. It's not that we cook it every day at home, otherwise it would look kind of different. Much bigger. but we love just to make it try to our guests. We love to, at least once in a while, have it. Cheers.
Back on board Scenic Ruby, we have one last afternoon to soak in the magic of cruising before we reach our final destination. The food on board is as sublime as the scenery, and the guests are offered a galley tour to truly appreciate what goes on behind the scenes.
So this is our lovely Scenic Ruby kitchen.
It's smaller than I thought. So what is it like working on a ship compared to working in a restaurant on the land?
The ship, this is like a floating hotel, and you know, the challenges are more than compared to the restaurants and the land hotels. Yeah.
And you get to use all that beautiful produce along the way.
Yeah, that's true. When you're traveling, you get lots of experience with the plenty guests around the world.
After cruising on our scenic spaceship through Hungary, Austria, Germany, and now the Netherlands, the final stop on our epic journey is a place referred to as the Venice of the North, Amsterdam. So, Yvonne, would you recommend that all new visitors to Amsterdam start with a canal trip?
Definitely. Definitely. This is the best way of seeing the city. Most of the historical parts of Amsterdam are closed for the traffic, so you cannot go there with a bus or minivan. You can just walk there or go on your bicycle. But if you have limited amount of time, this is the perfect way of seeing the city.
Amsterdam's 165 canals were built to stimulate trade, as well as reclaiming land to expand the city. They were all hand-dug, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah,
it took them
amazing.
50 years to do it. And if you would put all those canals in a straight line, there is more than 100 kilometers of canals.
The canals now also serve as a unique residential area with colourful houseboats lining the waterways. So what's the average price?
Asking price, €500,000, and then sky is the limit. Because you will see some of them, they're converted barges.
They're quite intriguing.
I know.
I mean, I love all the gardens on the rooftops.
Yes.
You can tell which ones are the keen cooks because they've got the herbs, and then the ones that like all the pretty flowers. Our included Scenic Free Choice 1 hour cruise is a great introduction to the city, its buildings and its people. Well, I can see why you like living here. I mean, it's such a cool city.
I mean, I love it. It's so much fun to live here. It's freedom and it's variety, and the food is great.
It's really multicultural, isn't it? But I'd love to try some traditional food.
Are you ready to try the 3 typical Dutch main pillars of what they really eat every day? It will be herring.
Yeah, love herring.
Street food from the wall.
Food from the wall, I'll give it a go.
And the stroopwafel. It's a delicious sweet thing. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm totally up for it. Herring is Holland's national snack, and you'll find fish stands everywhere around the city. It smells quite good.
Yes?
Yes.
Looks good.
It looks
Are
great.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm totally ready. I mean, I've never eaten raw herring before, but it has been brined.
Watch
so...
for the birds. Watch for the birds. I was not kidding. So you take your head back, open your mouth.
I'm not nervous. Okay, here we go.
You don't look nervous.
I'm going to have to swing it in.
Actually, yes. Holy smoke, she did it. Bravo. Hey, and everybody's looking at you, by the way.
It's a great texture.
What do you think?
It's a little bit strong. I'm used to it cooked,
Right.
but
healthy and lekker, don't forget.
Yeah, healthy and do as the locals do when you're in Amsterdam.
I can't believe she does it.
I feel like a Heineken. Now for another foodie first. That's the food coming out of the wall.
Yeah, that's the food from the wall, but you won't find it anywhere else.
But is it fresh?
It's fresh. It's replenished regular. You know, people just come here and they in rush and they just want to get something like grab and go. You see, every different types. That's the croquette. That's something which you've probably never seen before.
I like the look of that.
Yeah, this is veal.
Veal ragu in it.
This is my husband's favorite, so I trust him and it's good.
When in Holland, here we go.
Yeah, I give you my benediction in nomine Patris. Enjoy it. Yeah.
Ooh,
grab it.
It's that easy. Gosh. I reckon I'd hang around and wait for the lady to restock so I could get a fresh one next time. Let's have a go.
Okay, just... What do you think?
It's pretty bad, but in a good way. The most delicious sounding of the Dutch delicacies is the stroop waffle. It's a waffle made from 2 thin layers of baked dough with a caramel syrup filling in the middle. Well, here we go. This is my very first stroopwafel.
Enjoy it. We say eet smakelijk, which means bon appetit.
And this is really good.
I'm glad you like it.
It's all warm and good with chocolate, and the apple syrup is incredible. I think this is a good sweet ending.
You can say in Dutch, it's lekker, it's delicious.
Oh, I like that.
Let's walk it off.